Heartstopper here. Welcome back to episode 21 or 22 of Asexuality and Film. Today I am drinking a pink guava from chai tea. And I am talking to you about Heartstopper Forever. They don't have a DVD, so I'm going with that. So I'm using that. So there was another movie I wanted to use for episode 21, but haven't had time to rewatch it. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that because I wanted this to be episode 22. But let's see. I'm gonna film this now because I have time. So, Heartstopper Forever. I'm gonna call it Forever from now on. So, I think it's important to note when it comes to Heartstopper Forever is that it had three purposes. It had to work as a movie, it had to conclude a TV series of 3 seasons, it had to adapt a novella, Nick and Charlie, from 2016, republished in 2020, and it had to also adapt Heartstopper Volume 6. So, how did it do on those levels? I think it works as a movie. Does it work as a standalone movie? Of course, I can't know. I did a rewatch before I got into it. Does it work as a finale? Yes, given the time constraints. Like, you can see, like, if it was like I feel like it's structurally it's a bit more like Heartstopper the graphic novel, because like in the TV series they had space to elaborate on everybody's stories, but with the movie they had to focus on Nick and Charlie, and like in similarly here we get bits and pieces on what everybody else is doing. We get bits and pieces of what everybody else is doing in the movie. So would have preferred a season 4, of course, but it works as a conclusion to the movie, to the TV series, I think. Uh, this one, it does a decent job of adapting Heartstopper novella, the Heartstopper novella Nick and Charlie. Like, I think it's a very, so yeah, it does a decent job of adapting that story. I think what it actually does first is adapting Heartstopper Volume 4, even though I just said that it works structurally similarly. The reason I think because like this is a more lighter version of events. Like explicitly in this book, they get it. There's some fighting or some conflict, but they don't break up. In Nick and Charlie, they break up over a stupid reason. In Heartstopper Forever, they also break up, both temporarily in both cases. But I think it works based on what's happened in the TV series and how it develops within the movie. I think the breakup makes sense. But yeah, this is much happier version of events. But I think it works. So yeah, I did like Heartstopper Forever. So that's very quickly summarized various issues, but let's actually get to the asexuality of it all. And you remember this. So there's sex. As I like, of course, there's a bunch of romance, there's a bunch of romance drama, and then there's sex. Before I had time to watch Heartstopper Forever, them sent me an article of like the 4 best sex scenes in Heartstopper Forever. I'm like, there's at least four sex scenes in the movie. I didn't count. Haven't had time to rewatch it. But yeah, there are some amount of sex scenes, there's some variety in sexual positions that we are shown or implied, but it's not anything too explicit, I would say. So of course it depends on your level of sex repulsion, on how okay you are with the amount of sex. I think they are also to a certain extent rather skippable. So, but yeah, beware, there is sex. But there's also two asexual characters. There's Isaac Henderson, who's asexual and aromantic, and Tori Spring, who is asexual, or at least identifies as asexual. Only as asexual, I mean, like there is discussion of whether or not she's somewhere in the arrow spectrum too, but she explicitly identifies as asexual. So first, let's talk Isaac. Um, so yeah, if you went into this movie and you didn't know the TV show, and someone said that like there's an RA's character, you would probably guess that is Isaac because he's the only one who doesn't have any romance drama going on. Um, but it's not said explicitly. Would I like it to be explicit, like some kind of like offhand mention of it? Yes. But also it's kind of like weird to treat this as a movie that like happens in isolation and stuff like that. But so yeah, Isaac is adaptation of Aled from Radio Silence and Heartstopper. He Aled is demisexual, and Isaac is RAs. And I think I will just say I think the adaptational change was good. It made sense, and I love Isaac. Uh, Back to asexuality, and I remember saying I think the last time he used the labels, he basically said that he wasn't quite sure how to feel comfortable with his identities, which is kind of unfortunate. It would have been nice if we had gotten some explicit acceptance from him. But in general, like he is a very happy and confident person. So like I think like it's implied. I don't know. Like I do feel when it comes to show versus tell stuff, like when it comes to asexuality and aromanticism, it's a lot less clear cut as that. Like don't do one. Like sometimes you have to tell. And like we are told that Isaac is asexual. We are shown and told that Isaac is asexual. But that is uh not that stuff is not necessarily in the movie. But I do like how he's still very much involved with his friends. Still has his friends. I think this is explicitly included in future plans. And I like that he is going to be writing a book. It makes sense for his character. It would have been like you could have like put a mention there that Isaac is gonna be writing a asexual character, a aromantic character in his book or something like that. Um, but yeah, I thought what we got of Isaac in this movie was nice. Of course, we would have gotten more if we had a season of television. But yeah, I'm mostly happy with what we got with Isaac. And it's really especially happy with his scene with Tori. Uh, would have been nice if there was an explicit mention of asexuality. Yes. Is it still kind of subtextual because like Tori doesn't really approach people, so the fact that she's approached Isaac, it kind of implies asexual solidarity, and then I like it. And like from a personal perspective, I know bullying is very complicated, and Heartstopper has also shown that bullying can be complicated. Sometimes people are hurting, or they just, I mean, whatever. So I like the acknowledgement that Isaac was also picked on, but like he has a very confident and nonchalant attitude, so he wasn't really good bullying victim. Because I related that like people would sometimes try to bully me, but because I was like, what the fuck was that? And they let me alone. And that doesn't always work, but like sometimes it does. So I like that representation. Uh, I'm not sure how much space do I have. Maybe I should try to do a part two about Tori. I'm gonna so yeah, I'm gonna make another film, about specifically talking about Tori because she's a bit more complicated case. So like, so bye. That's the first part. End of part one.